Hey all. So welcome to the today's session of Microsoft Azure Virtual Machine Backup. That is in the short form, you can see that it is VM backup. Okay. So we are going to discuss each and every aspect of the virtual machine backup today. Okay. So this is a slides prepared by me. So my name is Rajat and I am a Microsoft certified trainer. So if you want to know more about me, so this slide will give you more insights. So I am having 6+ years of teaching experience in Azure domain and associated cloud technology. I have trained more than 100+ consultant till date, including both the corporate employees as well as your private coachings. Also, I have been giving an assistant on the migration project for one of my client, and I have been trained the couple of people more and into the various migration perspective, including the PowerShell. So this is more about me. Okay, so now without wasting much of your time, let's proceed with the topics for today's session. That is, these are the topics, or you can say the content for today's session. That is, first we are going to discuss about how you can manage the VM backup. Then we can see that how the backup jobs have been created into the Azure cloud, and how finally we can restore the VM in case of any disaster or in case of any happenings. So on the right hand side, the image which you are seeing in this, so it will show you the backup image. You can say that how the backup is being required to protect your Azure virtual machine. Okay, so you can see this in the right hand side. So even if you are not familiar with what is backup and what are the things we need to do, it is completely fine, because all those things we are going to see it today. Okay, so let's proceed. So let's understand that how we can protect our virtual machine data. In what are the various ways we can protect our virtual machine data? So in Azure cloud, we are having three main ways by which our data is being protected in the virtual machine, or you can say the data of the virtual machine can be protected. So your first is your managed snapshots. Second is your Azure backup, the topic which we are going to see for today. And third, the Azure site recovery. So the first and third topic, that is snapshot and Azure site recovery, is not a part of for today's session, but because we are mainly focusing on Azure backup. So let's discuss about snapshot. What do you understand by the snapshot? So a snapshot means taking an image of the VM at at a particular time when it is running. Okay, so let me give you a brief on the snapshot, just a quick brief, so that you can understand what is a snapshot and what are the things we are going to see. Okay, so let me open the whiteboard. Okay, so now let's discuss about what is snapshot. Okay, what is a snapshot? So a snapshot means, let's suppose if you are taking an image, or if you're capturing the image of a VM at 10 a.m. So whatever the data present in the VM till at that point of 10 a.m. will be taken in this snapshot. So a snapshot is nothing but a kind of a image or a capturing feature by which you can get the details of the VM for a particular time. Let's suppose whatever the applications you are having till 10 a.m. you can get it in this snapshot, or whatever the data present you will be getting in the snapshot. Okay, so let's go back to our topic and discuss the same. Okay, so manage a snapshot provide a quick and simple option for backing up the VM that uses the managed disk. So in Azure, we have two things that is called as managed and unmanaged disk. So managed disk are those disks, managed disk are kind of your virtual hard drives, which has been managed by the Microsoft. So whenever you find something called as managed disk, it means that that disk is being stored in the storage account, which is managed by the Microsoft. So no issue if you are not very clear or familiar with the terms of the managed and unmanaged disk. It's completely fine because it doesn't have any relation with our today's practical. Okay, so just a brief I am giving you on the snapshot. Now, the Azure backup, which we are going to see today, is your Azure backup. So backup support application consistent backups for both Windows and Linux machines. So if you want to backup the Windows as well as Linux machine, you can backup those components in with your Azure backup. So Azure backup is a service or is a feature provided by the Microsoft Azure so that you can create a backup for a particular device. In our case, it is virtual machine. That is our main topic. Okay. Now, if you want to protect your virtual machine data, we have a third option for you. That is your Azure Site Recovery. So Azure Site Recovery protects your VM from a major disaster scenario when a whole region experiences an outage. So the difference between an Azure Site Recovery and the backup is that it will be having a continuous replication of your on-premise site or the data center. But here, and in this part, it will be only backing up at the particular time frame. Okay, so just whatever I have explained you, so let me tell you in the whiteboard as well so that it will be more clear. So just a minute. Okay, so your Azure backup and your Azure Site Recovery. Azure Site Recovery and Azure Backup. Here, let's suppose if you took a backup at 10:05 a.m. Okay, then in to and your disaster happened around 2 p.m. 12 p.m. Okay, now disaster happened. For example, your disaster happened or your VM goes down. So in that particular thing, you have only option of this 10:05. You have only option of this 10:05 a.m. backup copy. Means whatever you have created a backup at 10:05, you can only take a backup up to that time. Okay, but here in ASR, what is happening? Let's suppose this is your virtual machine and this is your another machine. So it is in central US and it is in east US. So here what is happening, this will be completely continuously replicating between these two regions. So now you need to understand the difference between backup and ASR. Backup means that you can take a backup for a particular time or what are the various restore points available, but in the ASR it has been continuously replicating. Means every time it is been replicating, and if you want to get in terms of this outage also, you have plenty of options to choose from at which time you want to replicate. So this will be ASR and this is your Azure backup. Okay, so only the difference is that it is having the continuous replication, it is only having the particular restore point created depending upon your backup policy. Okay, so more we will be seeing into our practical today. Okay, so let's go here and let's go from the current slide. So workload protection needs. So why are we protecting our VMs? Because we need to make sure that in terms of the outages, our data will be highly available. In terms of the outages, our data will be highly available. So for that, you are having many backup options available. Okay, and you will be got to know with the Azure backup that how the workload is being protected today and how often the workload is being backup. So these things, these questions basically will be cleared with the help of your Azure backup. And what type of backups are being done, and is disaster recovery protection in plan? So these are the questions generally asked by the customer to the Microsoft so that they can say that if I am coming to you and I am keeping my virtual machine and I'm keeping my data in the virtual machine with your data center, what will be the guarantee that my data will be protected? So these are the questions needs to be answered by the Microsoft. Okay. So we will be seeing the things. So since we have discussed about the three terms, that is snapshot, your backup, and your Azure Site Recovery, so we are little bit exploring them with the help of our slides. Okay, so this is at the snapshot, guys, what we are doing. So this is your VM. So first you will take a snapshot. A snapshot means if you are taking a snapshot for the particular time, let's suppose now is 11:42, so you are taking a snapshot at 11:42. Okay, so a snapshot of this VM means whatever the data present in that VM, excluding your temporary disk, it will be capturing that data. Okay, now this will be transferred to the vault. So vault concept, what is vault? Recovery services vault, we are coming on that, but just I'm showing you the basic overview or the basic transmission of the snapshot. So this is the first method by which you can protect your virtual machine. So you can use snapshot taken as a part of the backup job, and it reduces the recovery wait times. Don't wait for the data transfer to the vault to finish, so it will be reducing your recovery time. So if whenever you need, you can be it can be recovered from the snapshot, and it can be configured instant restore retention 1 to 5 days. Instant retention restore retention means the data can be restored or the data can be retained. Retained means available in the vault, means the snapshot will be available in the recovery services vault for 1 to 5 days, so that you can instant restore your data in terms of outages. Okay, now what is recovery services vault? Now recovery services vault is a storage entity in Azure that houses the data. Means whenever we talked about the Azure backup, or whenever we talk about the Azure site recovery, this service of Azure plays an important role. Means whenever we talk about the Azure backup, that things can be managed with the help of a recovery services vault. Whether if you want to design a backup policy, whether you want to restore it, everything can be taken care by this service. So yes, exactly, this is the icon which you are seeing on the right hand side. You will be able to see in the same in the Azure portal. Okay, when we are going to discuss. So recovery services vault is a storage entity in Azure that houses the data. The data is typically copies of data or configuration information for virtual machines, workloads, servers, or workstations. So basically an entity or a service which is having your data. You can use recovery services vault to hold backup data for various Azure services such as IaaS VMs. IaaS VMs means you already know that we are mainly or majorly focused in to our Linux or Windows machines. Okay, so and these Azure SQL databases can be also backed up. Recovery Services Vault supports System Center DPM, Windows Server, and Azure Backup Server. So Center DPM or Windows Server are the two components it supports from the on-premise side. That is your traditional data center, which is being managed by the customer or client. Okay. So, and recovery services vault make it easy to organize your backup data while minimizing management overhead. So you just need to understand very simple thing that it is a service which is being responsible for creating a backup, that is Azure backup, and it is also been playing an important role in your Azure site recovery. Okay, so you need to understand that without recovery services vault, Azure VM backup won't be possible. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, so now let's go. So this is some how the snapshot which you can screenshot, sorry, which you can see from the Azure portal. So it will first ask your where is your workload running. So if you determine the Azure, so we are going to see this practical. These things in the practical, and also what do you want to backup? You can backup your in the cloud, you can backup your virtual machine, you can backup your Azure file share, SQL Server in Azure VM, or SAP HANA in Azure VM. So these things you can backup, so that tomorrow if these any of the particular resources of these categories are not available, you can get your the things done from your backup. Okay. Also, this recovery services vault supports the backup from your on-premise workload also. So you can see that if you have selected Azure, then these options you are getting. But if you selected If you selected on premises, you are getting these options: Hyper-V virtual machine, VMware virtual machine, system state, bare metal recovery. So these are the things which is coming from your on premises. Okay. So it is not only that this service will help you in the backing up of your Azure workload, but yes, it will be also help you with the on-premise workloads. Okay, so these things are there. So Azure Site Recovery we have already discussed. So it just replicate Azure VM from one region to another region. So region one and region two. So it has been continuously backing up these things. Okay. So you can see that these servers is been continuously backing up to the other part. Okay. So if we go and let me explain you like this. So let me explain now why. Okay. So if you see here that this is your primary region, this is your primary region, and this is your secondary region, right? So what I'm trying to say is that if you enable the Azure Site Recovery, it has been continuously replicating from one region to another region. It is continuously replicating from one region to another region. Okay. So now this is continuously replicating means you can see that web 01, web 02, here apps 01, app 02, and data disk DB server 0102. So same you are having over the copy here, here, and here. Okay. So internet should be there. Yes, internet should be there, and this is the way you can copy your data from here to here, and it has been continuously replicating. It is continuously replicating every minute, every second. Okay. So this is about your Azure Site Recovery. Okay. Since it is not included in our session, but I just wanted to explore for you the various aspect of VM backup. Okay. So you can replicate in this also Azure Site Recovery. You can replicate your VMware and your on-premises. So VMware and Hyper-V are the traditional on-premises environment, and you can also migrate or replicate your physical server Azure Stack VMs to Azure. You can also replicate AWS Windows instance to Azure. You can replicate on-premise VMware by VMs, Hyper-V VMs. These things you can also replicate using Azure Site Recovery. So now for the main before we start with the practical, so this is the basic steps which we are going to create first of all. So first of all, we are going to create a recovery services vault in the region where you are performing your virtual machine backup, and choose a replication strategy for the vault. Okay. So first of all, we are going to create this service, that is recovery services vault, which we have just now discussed. Okay. In that region where you want to create the VM and store the VM. Second, use the portal to define the backup. Then we are defining the policies for the Azure side, your Azure backup. And finally, we can start our backing up the virtual machine. So these things we are doing in an upcoming demo. Okay. So once you are done with this third step, guys, then you can restore the VM. So it will looks like this, some kind of this screenshot you can get like this. Okay. So once you trigger the restore operation, the backup services creates a job for tracking the restore option operation. So first, once as soon as you restore, click on the restore operation, it will triggers a job for tracking the restore operation. Okay. The backup service also creates and temporarily displays notification, so you monitor how the backup is proceeding. Okay, so this will be done, and you can see that these are the restore point. So restore points means whenever tomorrow is in case of any disaster, or let's suppose your virtual machine is not coming up, so while restoring your VM, they will ask you that which restore point you want to choose. Let's suppose if you want to choose from here, you can see that 12th March 2020, 12:20 a.m. your one restore point is been available. Second is been available at this. Okay, so these are the restore point available. Okay, so you can get. So application consistent VMs are mainly for your Windows VMs. Basically, we will talk about these things, but these are the restore point. Now, what is the restore point? Restore point will actually tell you that what are the various backups available at which time available, so that in order to restore your VM, you can select any one of from their list. Okay, so we will be doing it from the portal. Okay, So this you can see that backup recheck is passed, last backup is also passed. So this is like that. Okay. Okay, so these things are there. Now you can go ahead and let's visible the practical. Okay, so let's see the VM backup practical for today. Okay, so for this we are going to our Azure portal. Okay, so this is our Azure portal. Now what we are going to see, we are going to create first one virtual machine for which we are going to backup, for which we are going to create the backup. So you can click on add virtual machine. Since you already know how to create a virtual machine, okay, so I will be doing a quick steps. Even if you are new to the creation of virtual machine, so not a problem. So the basic steps required for creation of the virtual machine is your, first of all, is your subscription, and then your resource group, and then your VM details. Okay. So just I will help you like this. So for any of the resource creation, you require first of all your subscription, then your resource group, and then finally you are creating your resource. Okay, so let's suppose subscription is like a billing cycle under which your resources are present, and then finally you are creating your resource group, and then under the resource group you are having a particular theme, okay, or a particular resource. So these are the options, very mandate to understand, very important to know. Okay, so no issue, let's go back. So you can see the subscription name. I have selected my subscription. You can create a new resource group. Resource group is a logical entity. Okay, just to logically group the resources. So this is, I'm not going to touch these topics for as of now, because our main part is for the VM backup. Okay, so I'm just giving you I'm just giving the VM. So Azure VM, Azure VM, I'm just giving a name to this virtual machine where I want to backup this thing. So I want to backup in let's suppose I want to backup in central US. Okay, so one more thing which is very much important, that in whichever region you are creating your virtual machine, that region only you need to create your recovery services vault. It is very much required in terms of Azure backup. Okay, so what I'm telling, let me explain you like this. Okay, let's suppose this is your virtual machine, you are creating a one virtual machine, correct? Now you are choosing a region as central US. So what I'm trying to say is that in whichever region you are creating a virtual machine, in that particular region only your recovery services vault needs to be there. Otherwise, when scheduling the backup from the recovery services vault, you won't be able to find this VM. Okay, we will do it, we will test it, and then we will go ahead. Okay, so let's go and check. So this is our image. So I'm just selecting a Windows Server 2016 image, and I'm just going to the your image part. Like these are the pricing or the sizes of the virtual machine which you can choose. I'm choosing just a random and basic one. Okay, so username, what I can choose, I can choose any username. Okay, provided it won't be a reserved word. Reserved words means, reserved word means like you cannot choose admin. See, admin, it is not available. Okay, you can see that it is not available, right? And you can say John, like that. John is available. So just like a kind of a reserved word, it won't be there. So 01. Okay, now what can be the password you can choose? So password, if you are doing any of your practical, so I'm just giving you one hint that your password should be 8 to 12 character long, including uppercase and lowercase and special character. Okay, so I will write that the password so that you can uh, type exactly the same. Okay, okay, so it is not matching. 1 second. This I have written. Okay, so so your password should be 8 to 12 character. So the password something will be like password at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So here you can find that all special character, uppercase, lowercase, and special symbol are right. So these are the things which you need to take care while creating of the VM. Okay. So these things are there. I am just going down and everything I'm clicking and just clicking review plus create. I'm not exploring the other option because it is not needed as of now. So even if you are new to the virtual machine, so I have given you the basic overview to create the virtual machine, but always remember that. So this is the final page which will tell you to review what you are going to create. So you are going to create the VM under this resource group, VM name, region is central US. Make sure that if your recovery services vault is in central US, then this VM also needs to be central US. Otherwise, if the location is different, then you need to create the recovery services vault in that region. Okay, as I told you. So let it be created, and then we'll see. So once it is done, we'll check that further. So basically it is creating your virtual machine. And in the meanwhile, what I will do, I will create the now recovery services vault. Okay. So here you can type just simply recovery services vault. You can find here, right? So I can click on create, and it will resource group. I'm selecting the same resource group. So let me check which resource group I have chosen for the virtual machine. So I believe we can check from here. Yes. So Azure VM, your RG01. This is the details of the deployment. So you can go here and click on recovery services vault. You can click on read, create, and resource group is RG01. Okay. Vault name, you can say vault01. So this is a notification, guys, that your virtual machine is created, and I'm putting in the same region. See, I'm putting in the same region. So I'm clicking on review plus create. Okay. So this is your create. Okay. Okay. So the question can be asked here that why I need to create the virtual machine in the same region of the recovery services vault, because the region where virtual machine is present, you need to take the backup for that particular region, right? So your recovery services vault also needs to be there from that region on. Okay. So it is like that. So your recovery services vault is also created. That is fine. Perfect. So you can see that this is your vault. Okay. Okay. So now you can come back to here again, home page. Even if you want to, so I will just change the setting kind of thing. You can change, you can always change your portal setting from here settings, and you can choose a select different theme. Okay. So now you can go to this recovery services vault, and you can click on the vault 01. Okay. When you scroll it down, guys, there is something called as getting started in the backup and site recovery. So we are covering the backup topic. Let's discuss that. Okay. Now, where your workload is actually running, as I told you, it will ask you certain options. So if you select Azure, see, these are the options you are getting as per the screenshot which we have seen in the slides, right? Azure File Share, SQL Server in Azure HANA, and SAP HANA, right? So I'm just selecting Azure Virtual Machine and click on Backup. Let's see. At what time it will be creating a backup policy. So this is being taken care by the backup policy. Okay, you can see from here. Now, so this is taken daily at 4 p.m. UTC, instant restore, everything is there. So this is just a basic or default backup policy which they are offering. Now what I will do, I will click on add and add the virtual machine. So here, that's what I'm saying. If your location is different with the recovery services vault, you won't be able to see your VM over here. That's why I have created virtual machine in central US and your recovery services vault also in central US. So I'm selecting this and clicking on OK. Okay. So once it is done, okay. So what do you want to backup? I want to backup only OS disk only. Means OS drive only I need to backup, and click on enable backup. So see, it will initialize the backup operation. Means I have enabled the backup for my Azure VM. Got my point? So it is deployment is in progress. Okay. So we can wait for some time in order to complete it. It will take some time. Then we'll see. Okay, so you can see that your deployment has been completed. So you can go to the resource. So it's like that. No issue. So let's go back and we can go to our respective virtual machine. Go to here and you can click on this respective virtual machine. Okay. Come down. There is something called as backup under the operation. You can see backup. You can click on this. So it will show you this slide or this screen. See, so here basically the backup pre-check is being passed, but last backup it is not being enabled. Okay, so what is the second objective of our session is that to observe our jobs. So here you can find all the jobs which has been run in the past and now also which is running. So you can see that configuring the backup is being this job is being completed. Okay, so if you refresh, you won't be finding other job. So now if you go back and you can click on the backup now. Why? Because initial backup you haven't taken. So you need to click on this backup now. And at what time you want to retain this backup data? I want to retain this backup till 12th of April 2021. Like that. Okay. 12th of April 2021. You can click on OK. So see, it will trigger the backup for the Azure VM. So now it will be triggering up the backup for my Azure virtual machine. Okay. So it will take some time. Okay. So it has been triggered. So again, if you go to the view all jobs, it will be triggering. See, backup has been progress. Means your Azure virtual machine backup is in progress. Once it is completed, then we are going to see those. Okay. So since it is a Windows virtual machine, so after it is completing, so here you can find the restore point. So basically, restore point is what? Let's suppose tomorrow if you want to restore your VM, okay, then these restore point, what are the restore point available? You can do it. So if it is a Windows virtual machine, then the application consistent have one, or whatever the restore point available, it will show under application consistent. If it is a Linux machine, then it will be a file system consistent, and if it is a crash consistent, if the VM is shut down, then it will be a crash consistent. Okay, so you can see that included disk OS. So whatever we have defined, it will show you like this. Okay, so it will show you all the alerts for this of 24 hours, and it will show you all the jobs of the 24 hours. Okay. So these things I am doing. So you can see that the backup of the Azure virtual machine is in progress. Means I have enabled the start time at 12:03 p.m. That is what. Okay. So once it is completed, it will be showing you here. So it will take some time depending upon the size of the data inside the VM. Since we are having a brand new machine, so it will take some less time. Okay. So we'll see once it is completed. Okay, so you can see that our last backup status is success. Okay, and included disk is OS disk. So even if you go to the view all jobs, you can see that it is still in progress because some of the jobs are some of the particular files has been still being synchronizing. So not a problem. You can go back to the Azure VM and you can see that it is one. Okay, as I told you, it's a Windows VM. So you can see that it's a Windows VM. That's why the backup, the restore point, it is called for restore point for application consistent, and this is your application consistent. Recovery type is your snapshot. So we have taken the snapshot for this particular time, 12:03 p.m. Right? So this is about the snapshot which we have taken. So now let's suppose, let me stop this running VM. So I am stopping this VM. Okay. So just a minute, I am stopping this VM. So let's suppose tomorrow what happened. For example, your production server goes down like this due to unavoidable circumstances. It is stopping and it is going down. Now what you can do? Let's see. Okay. So when you go down, you can see, you can check that what is been happening over here. So it's stopping the virtual machine. Okay, so your production server is down, for example, just like I did. So when you go to your backup, when you go to your backup, if you go to your backup and if you click on the, so first of all, we have configured the backup. Okay, now we have run the initial backup, that is all are green. Okay, now what we can do, we can now want to restore that VM. We need to restore the VM on this particular snapshot available. So what you will do, you can click on restore VM. Okay, now no restore point selected, so you need to select a restore point. So for that, it is already there, right? So it similarly, you can have multiple restore point available in here, but since we are used only for this practical, we have only one. So you can click on OK. Just click on OK, and what you want to, how you want to restore your VM. Do you want to create it or restore it in a disk? No, I want to create a VM. Enter VM, that is your recover VM. I'm just typing the VM name. So once this VM is being recovered, it will be stored in the same resource group, that is RG01. Virtual network one, I am selecting the same virtual network for our Azure VM, as if Azure VM default, subnet default. Staging location should be, can't find your storage account, not a problem, and you can click on OK. So this you can select from here, or you can just refresh the same. Let me refresh it. Let's check that. Okay, so you can click on restore point available. So this I'm selecting. Okay, so I guess we don't have any of the storage account available. So let's quickly create one of the storage account, since it is required to create a storage account in the same region of, that is of Central US only. Okay, why? Because it wants to use it for the cache location. Okay, so I'm selecting same resource group, STG001, like this. Okay, and Central US, everything keep it like by default, and click on review plus create. Okay, so it is running the final validation, and once it is done, you can click on create. So it will create your storage account. Okay, so once it is done, once it is created, you can start seeing it in the virtual machine. Okay, so if you go here and if you go down, you can click on backup. Okay, you can click on the backup, and you can see that application consistent, it is deployment is in progress. Okay, so our storage account has been created. It is required because we need to use it in the cache location. So now you can go and click on restore VM, and you can select the restore point available, that is this. Click on this, and now you can see that your restore is being available storage. Okay, so I'm just typing the recover VM. Okay, sorry for the spelling mistake. Recover VM. Okay, now same resource group as of your Azure VM, same network as of your Azure VM, and click on restore. So here you can see that restore configuration. Do you want to replace or do you want to create new? So I am creating new, so that we can know that our virtual machine has been actually created. Okay, so this is all about you. I have shown you how to enable the backup, how to create the recovery services vault, how to manage the backup, and how to recover it. So you can see that in view all jobs, you can see that first I have completed this backup, and now it is being still configuring the backup, and now we are storing the backup. So these are the jobs which has been continuously working one by one, like that. Okay, so if you go back, you can see it over here. Okay, so this is all about your VM, and in few minutes you can start seeing in the virtual machine section. So even if you refresh it, I can see it will take some time, and here you can see that recover VM. See, our production site is down and it is being crashed, and now we want to recover the data for the particular restore point. But one more thing you need to understand, as I told you earlier, the data will be present in the recover VM. for this particular time only, for this particular 12:03 p.m. only. Okay, so these things you need to take care. Okay, so once it is done, then we can wind up. So it is refreshing. So after some time, it will be you can start seeing your virtual machine over here. Okay, so let's wait. So it will take the same time as time taken by the VM to be provisioned. Okay, so that's the case. Refreshed. You can see that your VMs has been refreshed. Okay, so we can wait for some more time, and the status type and source will be from the disk. Since you in the Azure VM, that is our own production server, you can see the marketplace, but in our case, it will be your source will be your disk. Okay, so you need to take care. See, yeah, now it has been created. You can see that recover VM is there. It is this central US, and even if you click on this, it is running fine, and it is in central US. So this is the way you can recover your VM, and all the configuration are same. Whatever you have given it, it will choose it from the like that. And yeah, this is it. This is how you can recover your VM. Thank you. So this is the end of our session.